Hello there, this is Red Joy, and today we're going to list off our favorite arcane spells from Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition. Today, I'm going to be listing off my favorite level 1 spells. Now, in looking at these spells for Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition, I've decided to do something a little bit different from the other amazing guides that are found on YouTube. Let's face it, when looking at a bunch of our shared videos, we've all taken a look at the amazing spell guides done by both WestJ and by Devaorn. And today I'm going to do something a little bit different, but it's worth mentioning these videos, and I've gone ahead and posted a link to those videos in the description below. Now, I do mention that these are my favorite spells. I'm not going to waste my time with spells that are crap spells. I'm not going to talk about Shocking Grasp or Disintegrate or Energy Drain, but rather I'm going to go level by level over the course of 9 videos to pick out 3 or 4 of my favorite spells of each level, and spells that I love to pick up if I play as a mage, a bard, or a sorcerer. Now, I'm going to guarantee that a lot of these spells that I consider as my favorite spells are not going to be your favorite spells. These aren't always also power gamer spells. They're not, but they are usually agreed upon that by others that they are very powerful spells, or spells that you can use almost every run that you go through. So with that said, I am going to mention that this is obviously just my opinion. I am going to mention there's going to be a lot of honorable mentions for each level of spells, spells that maybe you have a personal preference towards. But then again, these are spells that I consider as my favorites and are generally agreed upon and tested quite thoroughly when people try them out. With that, a final reminder that I do usually play with SCS installed. I play with Tweaks Anthology installed. I play on various levels of difficulty, although recently I've been putting a lot of videos that are on insane level difficulty. I would pick these spells pretty universally, even if I didn't have mods, but the mods do change things a little bit. For this list, and for each level, I aim to have at least 1 defensive spell, 1 offensive spell, and 1 utility spell for that level, although I will say that that's not going to be universally the case for every single level. I'm going to discuss my honorable mentions at the end after I give my favorites. Now, the honorable mentions are spells that I'll pick up for certain situations or used for specific builds. With that, let's begin. First of 4 spells that I'm going to talk about for level 1 is going to be Sleep. Sleep is an offensive spell that's used at the very early part of the game, and it is absolutely invaluable. It takes out large groups of enemies, ranging from kobolds to gibberlings to ankhegs, even to certain ogres. It knocks enemies out, large groups of enemies out, and it leaves them vulnerable to attacks. Now, the downside to the spell is that it falls off hard around chapters 5 or 6 of Baldur's Gate 1. So that's when you move in to the next spell on the list, which is Magic Missile. Right when Sleep falls off, Magic Missile comes into its own. Now, at the very early part of the game, it's not super powerful. You only fire 1 Magic Missile. But it's an auto-hit Magic Missile, and it does 1d4 plus 1 damage, which is good if you just need a quick pop-up damage. But at higher levels, it becomes absolutely invaluable as well. It's great to use in a sequencer or with improved alacrity to get tons of hits for lots of damage. My next favorite spell is Spook. Spook is an offensive spell that scales actually very nicely. What happens is you cast it at a single opponent and it causes them to run away, and the spell penalty increases per level of the caster. So it's a scaling spell, and I tend to really like scaling spells, just like Magic Missile. And it's great for if you have a ton of friends who have missile weapons, or if you just need somebody to get away from the mage or the party while you regroup and figure out what you're going to do next. This can work for a bunch of Baldur's Gate 1 and of Baldur's Gate 2 as long as opponents don't have immunity to fear, which is sadly about as common as True Sight with SCS. My last spell for level 1 is Identify. It's a utility spell. Yes, experts will say that you don't need Identify, but I find that there's a big convenience factor when you're going into dungeons and having 1 or 2 available castings for Identify. It helps us to use arcane items or to isolate bad arcane items right away. I think it's very useful throughout the entire game. Now, as promised, I do have a few honorable mentions. First is Protection from Petrification, which is great. You use it for certain areas of the game. It's very valuable. You just don't use it quite as often as other times. Then you have Shield. Shield is really good for a quick defensive spell. Also makes you immune to Magic Missile, so that's kind of nice. Next is blindness. Blindness is very, very powerful. It can isolate enemies. It can take them out. I just find other spells to be a little more, I use them a little more often. And then finally, find familiar. Fantastic spell, amazing spell, but you pretty much just need to use it once in each game, and then you'll be fine for the rest of the game. With that, that's my list for my favorite level 1 spells. Next time we'll go through the level 2 spells and we'll keep on making videos for the rest of them. If you like what I do, give the video a like, comment and subscribe. And with that, thank you for watching. Take care and good luck. We're all counting on you.